Thank you, Hans. Appreciate it. All right. So the Earth has its own energy lines, and also the world is one big magnetic field as well. So in part of what we connect with the Earth, these are lines that weave all around the Earth. They are big and small, and they're everywhere as well, just like ley lines, but they have a different purpose and function. Now, another amazing thing about ley lines is the milesium. And I found this really fascinating because milesium spreads all underground, creating a network of communication between all plants and species. And I want to explain this because I feel this is really important. But it also cares. It protects and feeds, and it supplies themselves with water. Also, if others are in need, a tree will sacrifice itself in the purpose of the community, as in the forest and things like that. So if all these trees grow really big and then there's not enough sunlight, a tree will sacrifice itself to be able to let the sunlight come in. There's an example. So when a tree is cut down, the milesium also communicates to the other trees that one is dying. And then what they do is they release energy to help rejuvenate that tree and give that tree a life source again. So, you know, when you see a tree stump and there's this little tree growing in the middle of it, that's part of the community of what the Earth's doing to rejuvenate and give life to something that's been taken. So the Earth is a gateway as well. It has two dimensions. It's physical and natural, but it's also got a spiritual component to it as well. So this is, well, let me ask you, what is that? It's a hand. It's a natural human hand. And this is what molluscan looks like on the Earth. It has all these veins and all these intricate parts that are connected together to help it function, just like we are and we have. So it's amazing how similar we are to how the Earth was created. And it's trans-dimensional. So it, just like we are, it is north, south, east, west, gates, doors. There's an overlay of the two realms, like I said, nature and mystery. And it's amazing that, like I said, also that we are so similar to the Earth. All right, we seem to be stuck there. I already did that. Hang on. Okay, we have a malfunction. Thank you very much. The joys. So just a reminder here that ley lines contain the structure of 5 or more sacred sites, okay, whereas the Earth energy doesn't need 5 or more sacred sites. It's just, you know, moving everywhere all around it. So these are the things that you need to be aware of when you're tracking ley lines. So last teaching I taught you ley lines like a pathway or a highway through the landscape. They're above the Earth, slightly above the Earth or on the Earth, and they always consist of churches, megaliths, springs, hilltops, mountains, sacred sites, ancient paths, forest, and prominent landmarks. So I'll go back to sharing here. I want to share about ley lines in Australia. Sorry, guys, I've got to find this again. And hopefully that's it. Can you see that, everybody? No, yes. Hans, can you see?
We can see it, but it's not in presentation mode.
Okay, here we go. All right, so this is a huge ley line. It's called Grid 44 that runs around the earth, and right in the middle of Australia. I'll show you more of that, but that's one of the big ones here in Australia. It's actually a dragon line. And here it is closer running through Australia. It starts at Lake Entrance, goes to Beagle Bay. Now, this also goes to New Zealand and up through Bali. So this is one of the main ones in Australia itself. So I don't know if any of you guys have ever been to any of these towns that you can see here. They are some interesting places. I have visited a lot of them in Victoria particularly, and they have a very interesting energy about them. And this one runs through Illaroo, and I'll show more about Illaroo in a minute. So this is called Grid 44. It's the most significant grid point. It's a dragon node in Australia, and it has many intersecting ley lines. So here's another one. These are main ley lines around the world. So there you have Illaroo with a lot of conjunctions. Like I said, it's a center of the crossover. And I just learnt recently that Illaroo has a huge crystal beneath it. Now, people have been doing some work over there to actually reactivate this crystal and bring healing to it. So I thought that was really interesting. And I think there's going to be a lot more of that coming to the surface. So here's beautiful Ayers Rock, or Illaroo, for those that are not familiar with it. You got that, Hans? Remember, this is the Illaroo, and it has a humanoid features. So, which is a side view, which I think is pretty amazing. You wouldn't really see that looking at it, you know, front on, but from someone's taken a photo, and it's a really good, clear one. So this is another lot of, again, different ley lines that someone has put together. Again, seeing that the main grid 44, is always a big one. So here's some more of the Earth ley lines. And here again, we've got Ayers Rock going up to the North Pole. And it is, you can see it's such a big conjunction of so many different ley lines, which is really fascinating. And that explains the, you know, the attraction. It's a big tourist industry here. To the originals, it's very sacred land. And that would be because of the energy that they feel. So this is the Bermuda Triangle. And I did show you this last time, but I want to show you the next level of it. And here it is here on down the bottom here, Bermuda Triangle. But look at this, guys. If you have a close look, you've got a First Nations ley running through there. You've got the Kachina ley through there. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing it right. But these are all significant ley lines traveling around. Remember, they're different to the Earth's energy because of what they carry and what they represent. And this is the St. Michael line. Again, I did show you this, but I want to show you a next level into this. And that has all these Mount Carmel, you know, all of this all the way through. It's very interesting, isn't it? That they all line up. These are all churches or castles all lined up. And then there's a few dozen of temples, cathedrals, and other sacred places aligned across Europe on this ley line. And this is Glastonbury. And this is all these, I was quite astounded at all the ley lines that come off this. And you can see that there's thin ones and there's thick ones, which, as I said, represent different types of things. And this is Glastonbury. So, you know, that's what all those conjunctions are. And it's just a tower. So what's underneath that? I mean, we've got to start asking these questions because it really is fascinating. And it's a really high point. So mountains often have it, as I explained. And then these are areas locate large ley line conjunctions in the USA. So this is Fort Lauderdale. Very interesting. And then we've got Houston is another one. And then we've got another one near San Diego, or just beneath that. That's another really big one as well. And then we've got medieval ley tunnels. So there is proof of ley tunnels physically linked between castles and churches, different buildings. We've heard a lot about tunnels over the last couple of years. That's been a big conversation, and there's so much proof that they exist, and things that are under the ground that we're not even aware of. So this is the Sydney Opera House. This is the infrastructure that's underneath the Opera House. And I've shown this because people don't actually fathom that they can do this. And this is exactly what they do. I've actually been down in this area when they were building the Opera House. They opened it up to the public to come and see some of their infrastructure. It's concrete everywhere. It's just concrete after concrete. It's pretty bland, pretty stark, because it's just all grey concrete everywhere. But that's all underneath the Opera House. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? So ley lines indicate marker or signs. We talked about some of those, and I want to show you a few of the stone and rock. Now, why is stone so prevalent in the Freemasonries or buildings back in those days? Everything was stone, and it's because stone is a really good memory holder. So that's the Freemasonry. They do everything in stone. That's why you have the, the memory, the obelisks, all in stone. And I want to show this. These are the Crystal Castle here in Byron Bay. But notice they lined up these two crystals, and they're really huge. And there's a mountain just in between it. That's intentional because that's lining up with a ley. Now, there was a lady, I did a presentation, and a lady shared with me that when they brought these two crystals in, because they come from overseas, it changed the energy on the property. And she said a lot of people ended up resigning or leaving. So I thought that was very interesting as well. And that's my son. So humanoid features can be found in trees, but we're going to look at rocks today. And then the next one I do will go through the other things that you can find that are indicators of why there is ley lines. So this is called the King's Men. This is a stone circle. It's the oldest in Britain. And there is another picture of it. So it's a perfect circle with all these stones. And then this is one of the King's Men. This is one of the faces on the rocks there. Be an interesting place to visit and have a chat with the rocks and see what history they actually expose. Stonehenge is another one. And then I noticed looking at this, there's a face and I can't show you, but there's a face, the fourth rock from the left. There's a face there. Yeah. All right, this is humanoid features on a cliff face. I mean, it's so perfectly edged out. You can't mistake it, can you? And now that you're seeing this, you'll start to see more of it. You'll become aware of it. There's another couple there. That's the same one, but in two different angles. Interesting. So here's another one on the left, and they've decided to build a tunnel through it because it's close to the beach. And then the one on the right is another one. Imagine that looking at you. So yeah, so they're very distinctive, and there's a lot of information out there about them, and a lot of them line up with some of the really historical, you know, places, or particularly the Stonehenges, you know, cliff faces, and even places that I mean, look at Easter Island. They're all humanoid faces. And they're starting to now discover that it's not, those faces aren't just above the water above land by so much. They're actually huge figures that go under the ground. So a geomancer is one that locates ley lines. They often use dowsing rods, which is when the earth and the energy within us connect. So basically the rods cross over, and that'll tell you. They use it to find water as well, because water has an energy. And also empaths. So another name for a super sensitive person is one that is an empath. We're a bit more familiar with that than a geomancer. And they tend to feel and pick up, you know, different energies, but also spiritual frequencies, or if there's you know, what's going on around them. They can pick up what other people are feeling. So part of the journey of an empath is that, you know, you need to learn how to discern what you and what you're picking up from someone else. And if you've got a child that, or you've got children that are really are very emphatic, and they're really sensitive, often those children will display misbehavior, and they get punished for something that they're not actually aware of what they're doing, because they're picking up different frequencies and energies. And a lot of people, you know, are not aware. A lot of parents aren't aware, and a lot of people aren't aware what's happening to these children, and they get diagnosed as, you know, ADHD or all these different things, and then they're medicated, and it's actually not what's happening for them. They're just kids that are very sensitive and very discerning and in tune to the spiritual and to energies. And, you know, it'd be great to start teaching young people or parents how to discern it and work with them. I have a lady here that her son is an empath, and I've had some really good conversations and been able to help her understand her son and how to navigate some of his behavior, so that he can then, you know, grow in understanding what's happening. So awareness is growing on the earth, you know, and part of this is what's exciting. You know, we're starting to be planetary healers, are starting to rise up, and energy healers are on the earth, you know, starting to become aware. There's great conversations. There's lots of groups that, you know, are starting to launch out. And I'm finding it's a great platform to have communication with people that don't want to be, you know, churched or religioned or new age. But when you start talking about this, they really open up. And I'm just finding there's a real shift to that. So part of us, you know, learning these things is taking awareness of what's happening in this time and in this season, that we're starting to realize that we need to bring healing to the earth. I've started doing some field trips with people in the area and bringing on different properties, which has been fantastic. And we've been able to bring healing to the land. or the situation. We did one a couple of weeks ago where a tree needed some healing. And it was a group effort, and it was really awesome to, talk people through and realize what they're feeling is what was coming from the tree. And then we could release healing to that tree. You always have to acknowledge the injustice that has happened. That's really important. You can't just come in there and, speak wonderful words. That doesn't happen with humans. You can encourage somebody, but, till you're blue in the face. But if you don't bring healing to the trauma or remove the blockage that's holding them down, all the words of encouragement that you can say will not have the effect, because they need that root issue dealt with. They need that healing to come through. And even with nature, we've got to release healing to the injustice. I did a property clearing a couple of weeks ago as well, and there was a Aboriginal had been murdered on the property, and it brought a lot of, devastation to the property as well. And that's where you've got to notice, you've got to acknowledge there was an injustice. And then when you acknowledge that injustice and the spirit that's trapped there from that trauma can be released, because it's bound there by the injustice. And, that's where we've got to start bringing more healing to the earth and start moving with the spirit to bring change the way that it's crying out for. And it's interesting. I think we're going to see a real rapid increase of change, of, people becoming more aware of this. They're becoming more aware of their environment. They're becoming more aware of the energy and infiltration and entities that are affecting people. And we're starting to line up. I think this is a beautiful thing that's happening, because we're starting to realize that health and spirituality is connected. So we're not just, the awareness of pharmaceuticals and all that sort of thing. People are looking to go natural. They're looking for natural remedies, which is going to bring healing as well. But we've got to also bring the balance of the spiritual effects, like negative energies, negative thoughts. If there's unforgiveness, which is often happens when there's an injustice. So these are the things that we're bringing to the earth. It's, we've got to start taking responsibility for what has happened to the earth, even though it's unknowingly, even though we've, been, a lot of us have not been aware or awake, but we are now. And then we can come in and bring that healing and bring a shift. And the more of us that are doing this and doing it well and doing it right, the sooner the earth itself will be rejuvenated and healed. So it's a double-edged sword, where we're getting healing, we're getting breakthrough, but so will the earth. So there's some of the indicators of, what you can be looking for. But don't just go by what you're seeing in the natural. I really want to encourage you to tap into what you're feeling. And this is where the field trips was really great, because we had, nearly 25 people, and everyone brought something different, but it all came together. They all had different pieces of the puzzle that came together. So then that encourages them on what they're learning and experiencing as well. And that's really exciting. So the awareness is absolutely growing, but which is exciting. And I think we're in for some amazing time ahead of us. But like I said, we can't just sit back and think, okay, this person's now in government in America, so he's going to fix everything. It's not about one person. It's about all of us working together in community and coming into that, the whole, new phase of where we're going. The earth has not witnessed anything like this before, nor has mankind. And I found it really interesting that that in the papers, they talked about Donald Trump and stating that, this is the golden era. So that is in line with a lot of insightful people that have forecast that even 10 years ago. So that was a really key word that was expressed. And it was something that I was shown 6 years ago as well. So I was like, isn't that interesting that they've put that in the paper? And it's going to be an exciting time ahead of us, guys. It really is. All right, I'm going to open it up for some questions because that's pretty well it for the, hang on, I've lost you. Beautiful. Okay, don't do that. Let's do that, close that. Hopefully I don't lose you. Oh, wow, technology. All right, so is there anyone there that, I'm sorry that was a bit rushed because I did go into, oh my goodness, when things get a little bit, but that's okay. We'll just take a deep breath. So I actually want to ask a question. We just need to mute. Someone's not muted. Here we go. So I just want, someone's got their hands up. Okay, but I'll answer those questions in a minute. But let me just ask this. How is everyone traveling after last week's session on light language? I got some amazing emails and feedback from different people. It was really encouraging and lovely to get those. So thank you for that. So, okay, Alexa asked a question. We'll just unmute you. What was your question, darling? Hang on. Can you unmute yourself? Hands, help.
Hello?
Hello. How are you, darling?
Good, thank you very much. Just could you explain again about the difference between ley lines and earth lines?
Okay, so the earth has its own natural energy and they're all over they're everywhere. Ley lines, remember, have always got 5 or more structures like temples or buildings, castles, that sort of thing, like I showed you the first time. So that's the difference. And it's also the different feel on the energy, in the area or on that ley. It always has a different type of energy. So remember, this is the aim here is to help teach you to recognize what your body's telling you, how you're feeling. So, you can go, all water has a beautiful energy. It just is refreshing and uplifting. It can be restful. That's just the earth's natural energy. A ley line is completely different.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Liana?
Hi, Dottie.
Hello.
How are you? Can you hear me?
Darling. Yes, I can.
Dottie, I just wanted to ask a question about being an empath. About 4 weeks ago, I went to a retreat. And for the first 3 days of that retreat, I knew something was happening. It just felt really weird. I wasn't being myself. I'm usually sort of pretty positive. And then day 3 into this retreat, I realized it wasn't me, it was everybody else. Like the energy in the room was very stagnant, everyone had a little bit of anxiety, you know, like how should I think, how should I feel? But it took me 3 days to work this out. I mean, it was magnificent when I did work it out. But what I'm finding is sort of navigating that process when you do go to events or functions and you've got to mix with people and everybody has got a really low energy and, you know, you're just trying to be yourself. So any tips on how to navigate that, Dottie?
Absolutely. So it's when you feel that, like I'm really glad that you worked out what the difference was, because a lot of people don't. And a lot of, I'm going to be really honest with you guys, there are people that run retreats that I would not have anything to do with because they're not bringing then like when you walk into a retreat, in fact, I'm looking to run retreats next year, which is really interesting. But, you know, when people walk in, there needs to be a shift the minute they walk in. There's got to be an atmosphere of, oh, wow, this expectancy, this change, regardless of what they're feeling or thinking, right? Because when you go to a retreat, there's an expectation. So the atmosphere should already be carrying the new for them, okay? So I'm really glad that you discerned that it wasn't you. And you will get quicker at doing that because you're all of a sudden, it's like your whole being has been opened up to, hang on a minute, this isn't normally me. And that's a really good question to ask yourself. I don't normally behave like this, so why all of a sudden am I? And that is a really good indicator because, you know, guys, when moving forward, the most important thing that we need to grab hold of is that we don't need to come under other people. Just like the era has changed. We are not looking for gurus. We're not looking for leaders. We're not looking for hierarchy to start telling us what we can and can't do and the atmosphere that they carry. This is why I'm not a big believer in mentorship. Because in the spirit, people go, can you be my mentor? And I'm going, no, I'm sorry, I won't be your mentor. And I don't want to mentor because they're what they carry, because you've submitted yourself to them, you've given away part of your power. So then what you're doing is their strengths become your strengths, but their weaknesses become their weaknesses as well.
Well, that's interesting, Dottie. Sorry to interrupt. This particular individual that ran this retreat did it for the first time. And I agree with everything you're saying there, Dottie. It sort of made me really question, would I ever go to another retreat unless I really know whether or not the facilitator, sorry to say, has got his or her shit together in terms of how to sort of support people. You know, there were things happening on day one where it came down to the inexperience of the facilitator. You know, this is the thing. You might be really good at your modality, you know, be it yoga, be it breath work, but then everybody thinks suddenly they can become an expert at everything. And I just sort of think you've got to be very discerning around that and sort of, as you said, Dottie, become your own guru, you know, like we've all got the power within us. Let's become our own guru. We don't need to look outside of ourselves for that unless we're sort of learning how to do something for the first time.
Yeah.
You know, like training to do something.
Yeah. And there's people that come into your life for seasons. There's some people that are lifers, you know, and it's all like, I really, this whole platform is about you guys finding you. It's not, you know, oh, we're going to follow Dottie, because I don't want that. That's been my whole life's journey. I don't want people to, unless Dottie says it's not right. You guys are powerful people. You have got a mind of your own. You've got a heart of your own, a purpose of your own. And if you get connected purely to the source, purely straight with God in the spirit or creator, you can get what you need. That doesn't mean that other people can't come along and help you tap into what it is, because our words are portals. So the things that I share with you, my encounters, then become possibility for you if you want it. But it's still your own encounter. It's unique to you. You might have bits of it that's similar, but it's completely unique to you. And that's really important, that we stay true to our uniqueness and who we were created to be and do, and think outside the box. I've got friends that I don't agree with everything that they believe, but that doesn't mean I'm not friends with them. The power is that we encourage each other to think what we want to think without going, well, you're no longer my friend because you don't think like this, which is what religion has done very well. If you disagree with the pastor or a leadership, then you're excommunicated. I'm going, where the heck is that biblically? If the Bible, and I'm going to refer to the Bible, states that I have a sound mind, I have the mind of Christ, if this is where you come from, then I'm allowed to have a sound mind and I'm allowed to have my own mind. And this is the importance that we're coming out from under. It's not to cause rebellion or anarchy. It's actually to empower people to start thinking for themselves and being aware of where the rooms that you step into, the people that you, come under. So, and I mean, this is where some of the words, we need to look at words on what we're actually doing. Is, the words that we're using. I feel there's a big shift in coming into the words that we connect with, because they're words that are ones that bring you bound instead of releasing you. And so that's part of the shift. So that's great that you realize that. So how many days was the retreat?
Dottie, it went for 7 days. And I tell you, it was a challenge, because I think most people didn't even open up until day 7. So you can just imagine what I had to endure for 7 days, thinking, hey, guys, when are you people going to wake up? Because the energy was just so low. And, it was a fascinating and very interesting experience for me personally.
Yeah.
In terms of navigating other people's energy and how to work with that and stay positive within your own container.
Yep. And that's a good learning too, because you're taking back your power every time you kind of reject. So some of the things that I do, and this is a good thing to do even when you're dealing with ley lines, guys, or portals. You can protect yourself. You can put a covering over yourself. But also if you feel anything, and this is why the golden rule is always ask questions. So, you've asked yourself, well, hang on, this is not normally me. So what is it? So that helps bring discernment and understanding on what was actually going on for you. And you realize, oh, this isn't me. Awesome. The minute you go, this is not mine, this isn't me, you're already pushing it off. You're already moving it away from you. All right. So, and then you automatically put in this protection, so that if anyone else it's like, I always see it like a shield, but it's like or your aura, if you want to use that word. That's exactly what it looks like for me in the spirit. So I'm in that, so I am protected, and nothing can get past that unless I choose it to, because we've got free will. So if people say things to you, or you're picking things up in the spirit that don't agree with you, you don't have to go, I don't agree with that, because we really want to entreat people to come on the journey with us. But in your heart, you can go, yeah, I'm not having that. I'm not accepting that. If someone outwardly says something that is a curse to me, I will put up my hand and I go, I'm not accepting that. And I don't care if they get offended, because it's my right to not accept it. So these are the things that you can do, because some people go, oh, well, the doctors are really good at this. Oh, well, when you hit 60 and you're going to go through menopause and you're going to have this and you're going to have that. And I go, yep, I'm not having that. Not that I go to doctors, but then any patient, female patient that's been to the doctor that's heard that, don't you love it? They spread it. Oh, well, when you get to this age, you're going to have this and you're going to have that. And I just go, no, I'm not. And they go, what? I go, I'm not accepting that. I don't have to go through that, because I want them to think about what they're agreeing with. So there are times that it's good to challenge what they're saying, because it makes them stop and think about it. And then they go, oh, yeah, yeah, okay. I hadn't thought of that. And then when I tell them how old I am and what I've never been through, because they said that I had to go through, they go, what? And I go, yeah, because that's who I am in the spirit. That's who I'm connected with, the Creator. So I don't need to accept what they're saying here on the earth. And that's the shift. Coming into your heart, absolutely. But, you know, I'm finding it a little bit challenging, because people are talking about, you know, oh, how do I get in, and how do I, you know, coming in and out. It's like we're constantly saying, oh, when we sit and meditate, we're in. And then when I walk away, I'm out. And I'm like, why are you in and out? Why do you not stay in the spirit? Why do you not stay in your heart? Why do you not stay aligned so that you don't have to go in and out? Like it is programming. Can I say that? It is definitely programming that we've been under. It's like, unless you're meditating, and I know I've heard of people that meditate, you know, 12 hours a day, but they don't get any breakthrough whatsoever. Why? Because they're not living life. They're just sitting there meditating, hoping that something will come and fix the problem. That's not how it works. When you do life, you get growth. Even when you're rubbing shoulders with people that might, you know, make you prickle a little bit, embrace it. Because that little prickle that you're feeling, or your feathers are getting ruffled, there is something that needs to be dealt with. Now, whether it's you that has the problem, or whether they have the problem, or whether you both have a problem, or whether it's something in the spirit. This is why, again, ask the questions. So it's like, you know, coming back to asking the questions of, what is this? Why do I feel this? Why am I reacting to this? Why did I just get angry? Sometimes it can flip. And then I go, oh, I just walked through something. I walked through someone else's energy, and it went like that. And I was like, what's that? And then you go, oh, hang on a minute, here I am again. It's just being aware, guys. Okay. But you know, we're in this incredible time to know who we are. Know your core values is absolutely crucial. If you know your core values, you will know how you think and how you will react to things. So, all right, that's it for today, guys. And I'll do a subject about core values. I'll take you on a little journey on how to discern. I've got some little, you know, little, not tricks, but ways for you to really dig deep to find your core values, and things that make you, like, when injustice rises up, you know, that's not right. Okay, what is that? Why does that come up in you? These are really good questions to ask yourself. But I've got, some words that you can tap into as well, so that you're starting to realize what makes you tick. The more you understand how you tick, the more you understand how and why you behave, and how and why you do the things that you do or don't do. And it'll also reveal why sometimes we self-sabotage as well. So these is, we're on this incredible journey of self-exploration, learning about self, learning about the power we are. We're tapping into things on the earth. We're tapping into things in the spiritual, and we are part of all of it. And that's what's so exciting about this time and season that we're in. Hang on to your hats, guys, because we're about to step into exponential growth. It's like things are going to start happening like this, and it'll be like I've got a problem in the morning, and by the afternoon it'll be fixed. So, or the answer will come. So we're really in some acceleration here, and the best way to ride acceleration is ride it. If you're in the ocean, have you ever paddled against a wave? The best thing to do is jump on that wave, get your surfboard, jump on that wave, and just let the wave bring you to where it needs to go. That's what we're in for in this next season. It's very exciting. All right, guys, I'm going to leave that there. Apologies for what happened this morning. I have no idea where Jenny or what has happened to Jenny, but I hope she's okay. Oh, there she is.
I've been here, and I apologize. My Zoom call says 7 p.m. I thought we were going back to the original time. It was literally an hour earlier now. So like 2 hours earlier. So
What?
that was very confusing. Yeah, it's on my back end. It says 7 p.m. But this call came on at 5 p.m. And then Hans reached out to me. And then I went and checked because I told him, I said, no, it's 2 hours from now. So I apologize, everyone. But thank you, Hans, for covering. And that's the beauty of this beautiful volunteer team at Empower. Like, we've got people backing us up. So thank you so much, Hans and Lisa.
Well, Jenny, it's nice to see you.
I've been listening. It was very good. I didn't want to interrupt you because I knew we would have this conversation. So.
Oh, good. Well, I'm glad that there's nothing wrong with you, because I was getting a bit worried. And I'm like, I'm going to have to go in the spirit, see what's going on here. All right, guys. So next week I'm going to I'm actually going to talk about the very character of who and what God is for us and towards us, or the creator or source, whatever you want to call it. I just feel it's fundamental in this season that we're stepping into, this acceleration, that if you really grab a hold of that, it will sustain you through anything, everything. It's just absolutely vital to understand, what we're connected to and who's connected with us. And so that's what I'll be talking about next Friday on the fly. So might be a mobile call. All right, guys, thank you again. Apologies for whatever happened, and love you all, and have an absolutely amazing week. And I hope you got something out of that, and be powerful.